Hello, welcome into our Sunday evening week ahead card pulls for the collective. It is Mother's Day here in North America and other parts of the world. So happy Mother's Day to all those who play this invaluable role in all of its many forms. And, always a time that I hold space for all who are in need of mothering and all of the inner child energy that can come forward, especially at times where we've imbued this meaning. Compliments perhaps of Hallmark? No. But anyway, I can say I did have a very beautiful weekend and very grateful for what my 4 kiddos and husband spoiled me with today. So sending out love and beautiful wishes to all. So we've got some extra decks on the altar this week, and so you know what that means. There's a lunation happening. It's actually next Saturday, our new moon in Taurus. So in addition to our cards, we'll be pulling the tarot energy for the transient light. We will also be pulling from the Queen of the Sun and Moon. I'm going to do Sun first, as the Sun is in Taurus, and we'll continue through to that new moon when we will also pull the moon card for when the moon is in Taurus as well. Meets him there, the sun, on Saturday. So let's do that. Let's get right into it because it's a little later. It was a very full day and I just want to get our cards out here so we can check in with some astrological weather, just a few aspects to chat about. And then we can talk about our intuitive messages for the week ahead with our spread. So here we are tuning into the Queen of the Sun for some guidance around this week, building up to a very beautiful new moon in Taurus. I'm just dipping into that now. I will be tuning in for the new moon empowerment reading this week for anyone who would like to join us. That is available. I'll put the link here in our Empowerment Sharecast, as well as in the caption below if you're seeing this in one of my social media spaces. So, isn't that, that's amazing. That's Aurora. I was going to say, I'm seeing that beautiful rainbow backdrop. Beginnings. It's funny, I was going to assume that was number 1, but it's actually card 13, which is even more beautiful because, of course, in the tarot, it is the death rebirth card that is number 13 in the major arcana. Representative of a new moon coming with a new beginning on the other side of a cycle ending. So beginnings coming forward from the Taurus sun. We will see what happens here on the other end with our Taurus moon on Saturday. Let's park that there. We're going to tune into our Transient Light Tarot, this beautiful deck that is bringing through such just really beautiful messages that are, I love the take on some of the more traditional cards in a fresh way that's really been opening up some great conversations in our readings and just what's been coming through. So I'm excited to see what we get here, beginning with Monday, which is going to be setting the tone for the week ahead. Guess who's back? This is the 10 of Wands. This was Wednesday's card. Let me tell you something. I lived tarot to life last week. Wild. Starting on Tuesday when we had that 9 of Vessels as our potential blocker challenge, followed by our blessing, our midweek blessing, the 10 of Wands. I mean, it was textbook. And so many of you that I got to connect with in the fray because it was wild for me. Similarly, very different situations, of course. The details were different, but the energy was the same. So very interested to see how those full plates continue to bless us as we move into this week with that 10 of Wands. Tuesday, let's take a look at this week's potential block or challenge. A potential block or challenge coming in. I'm going to go with that one. Champion of Coins. So that's going to come in as our, I believe, Knight of Coins. Coming in, Knight of Pentacles, bringing in that potential block or challenge. So some of that tangible earth energy with the Pentacles coins. And there's some action around that. So that's could be, financial, but also, all of that root chakra stuff, safety, security, all those types of things that we'll take a look and see what's coming in there in the way of change with that crow. in transition. Okay. With that comes a midweek blessing. So let's see what comes in for Wednesday as a midweek blessing. All right. Put that one there. 5 of Wands, stirring it around. Okay, so fire again, like we have here. We have this energy of again, that's that change and that transition where there can be some chaos and things. And yet in that is a blessing that we will feel into with a 5 of Wands there for midweek. Thursday is how are we growing and how have we grown through Taurus season? Because on the other side of this new moon, we will be preparing to welcome in Gemini season. Happy birthday to all of our Geminis. So some air energy coming in here swiftly on the other side. So we'll feel into how have we grown through Taurus season from April into May. What's coming in here for Thursday? More pentacles, coins, 6 of coins. So the reciprocity, the giving and the receiving, this exchange. So this is interesting. Fire and earth coming in, sweeping right here. So we're going to have one more tarot card to see what's wrapping it all up on Friday, just before that new moon in Taurus on Saturday. So let's see what is coming in for Friday. Wrapping up the week. Of course, it's the moon, as we said. Yes, exactly. Needs no introduction. The moon, the lone major arcana, significant energy coming in just before. So that means, all of this energy is very much connected to the Taurus new moon happening then on Saturday. So let us see what we have from the Queen of the Moon coming in for that Saturday new moon in Taurus. So this will be that new moon empowerment reading I'll be doing where we get into the astrological weather in depth. We'll talk about these 2 cards that are coming up from the Queen of Sun and Moon, and we will have a spread and a ritual. And then I will be in touch to do the part 2, which is your personal cards around the new moon. So do consider joining us, as it really is one for us to start planting some of those seeds of intention into as energies are continuing to speed up. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, this is a very Venus card for me, the beauty energy. So very connected in for sure. Beginnings and beauty, 13 and 20. So we will feel and we'll touch on these here tonight, and then we'll be going deeper in that new moon empowerment reading. If you would like a personal card pull this week, as we get into these messages, please let me know. I will be in touch with those through the week as I focus on first that new moon empowerment reading, but I do offer those as part of my loving service to you. So you can let me know if you would like a card pull. Okay, let's take a look now at the astrological weather coming up. All right, let's get into some astrological weather this week, a brief list, and happening on the other end of the week. I don't have anything here noted significant until Thursday, May 14th, when we have a Mercury cazimi. So this is where Mercury aligns with the sun, bringing some insights our way. This is where information may be revealed, or we may find ourselves being able to see things clearly after a period of confusion. So this is a power day for clarity and for productive thinking. And just on the other side of that, May 15th through the 17th. So this is going to be all very much a part of the new moon happening then. May 15th is Friday through Sunday the 17th. New moon happening right in the middle on Saturday the 16th. The Algol gateway is activated by the sun, aligning with the fixed star Algol. Algol is one of the most notorious stars in astrology and has been nicknamed the blinking star of the demon. However, its reputation is perhaps largely misguided. Algol represents the power that we obtain after moving through a cycle of death and rebirth. There it is. Like I said, The beginnings card that started us off with that Queen of the Sun is card number 13, a number associated with the death, rebirth energy of the tarot. So we definitely were tapping into that here collectively through the cards. The stars are backing that up. Now, Algol is closely linked with the myth of Medusa. Medusa began as an oracle goddess, but was turned into a gorgon with a head of snakes. And through this metamorphosis, however, she only became stronger. So this is the essence of Algol. It teaches us to find our strength and power no matter the transformations that have found us. So that is going to be a significant energy and a powerful gateway we're moving through this week, all while the beginning, the new beginning of a season with the Taurus new moon, where we have that bringing in a new lunar cycle that really feels a lot calmer and restorative than the one before it. Exhale. We are supported here to slow down, to be deliberate in our actions, and to think about long-term gains. Now, money matters or a relationship may be on our minds under this new moon, and it seems as if there are two paths that we can go down. So getting mentally clear and talking through things with a trusted friend, that's going to be helpful. I'm seeing our cards as I'm reading that because we got coins, and we've got the Champion of Coins on Tuesday's Potential Blocker Challenge this week, where I mentioned that highlights finances and, safety, security, that foundational stuff. And then that 6 of coins that we have here on Thursday, right as that Algol gateway is kicking off, is one where we see 2 hands coming in, right? Each holding 3 coins coming to the table. But, what's coming up there in the realm of 6, a number of relationship, harmony, balancing, and reciprocity, or not, right? So there's an energy here for us to explore as we take a look now at the cards with our intuitive messages. So let's take a look now at what came in, starting with that Queen of the Sun beginnings card. Okay, so we begin here with the Taurus Sun and the Queen of the Sun oracle message that's come forward that we're going to be diving in more deeply in the new moon empowerment reading, but just to kind of scratch the surface of an energy that's ushering in this gentle and calming new moon is the Aurora card, number 13, with a mantra that says, I am grateful for every new beginning. Begin and begin again. Find joy in fresh starts. Watch the dawn. Consider how many dawns we see in life. It's a finite number, so understand time is a precious resource. Wow. Yeah, I feel that, especially with, I mentioned last week, we have graduates and a lot of things coming up in our world where we're definitely experiencing a lot of endings and then new beginnings. And it's so interesting to think of that. Yes, it is a finite number when it comes to the new dawns that we see in all areas of life. And so there's this sense of actually celebrating the ending of things, because on the other side of that is a new dawn. And celebrating each one that we get, so there's a sense of, just kind of appreciating the sacredness of that I'm feeling. And, it's reminding me of the Aurora because, we've had several instances this year, especially in North America, and I know in many other parts of the world, where rare sightings of the Aurora Borealis were visible in places more south than they typically would be. And that includes where I am in Pennsylvania. I personally got to see some of the northern lights, which I captured on my phone. I couldn't see them with the naked eye, but saw them through the lens of my phone a few months ago. And it just, it's just kind of giving me that appreciation and looking at this beautiful card and the way that's coming forward. There's just something about that I think is going to be a big part of the energy that we can tap into with this new moon and this gateway that does celebrate just that, the death and the rebirth, the new beginnings on the other side with that Algol gateway. So this feels extremely pertinent to that energy that we'll be diving into in the new moon empowerment reading. So once again, do feel free to come along if you would like to really connect in with that energy and maximize it for new beginnings. Okay, let's get into now our tarot messages for the week ahead. All right, we begin with Monday, where we have a repeat. The 10 of Wands back again. Last week's midweek blessing is this week's kickstart. 10 of Wands. I kind of feel like this one talks for itself. You know, we get it. We know, you know, there's a lot. It's a lot. Our plates are full. It's a busy time. It's a fiery time because there's a lot of action, a lot of activities for many of us. And I would say that even if you're not in the thick of the season of, you know, dads and grads and all the things I was mentioning last week, or whatever busy looks like for you, there could be internal busyness, you know, or there could just be a sense of fullness or heaviness in a way, you know, where we feel like it's all full. So, you know, just kind of glancing back at, you know, what came through here, the 10 of Wands from the Transient Light Tarot, you know, bringing it into this notion of working and achieving to your full potential, which can be bittersweet. So carrying the load, handling it all, getting it all done can be very fulfilling and honorable, but abundance can also be a burden of responsibility. And that's what I mean. Like, not everybody may feel, you know, busy externally, but there could be something heavier or a lot to carry. I said last week, this is my lean on me card. You know, do you need to carry all those wands all by yourself, all at the same time? It reminds me of the whole insisting on carrying as few trips in from the car with the groceries as possible. You know, like we load ourselves up. So that's sort of just here. And it's saying, this is a season. This is an energy that we may be feeling in more ways than one. It's coming into our awareness, and we're going to dig into the specifics of that, the tangible aspects of that with some of this coins energy then that we have throughout the week. So let's take a look now at Tuesday's potential block or challenge. All right, Tuesday coming in with our potential block or challenge as the champion of coins, or the knight of coins or pentacles traditionally. And I had seen this as a crow, but in fact, it is a blue bowerbird. So this is like a Knight of Pentacles energy. And the message from the Transient Light Tarot: to attract a mate, the blue bowerbird gathers precious blue flowers, ribbons, and plastic ephemera to build a nest. The champion of coins knows what they want and has paid attention to peripheral details. Be perceptive and get everything required ready and in place before you pursue what your eyes are set on. Don't be shy. Flaunt your insight, build trust, and prove yourself worthy. So, like I said, a knight is bringing action, you know, and there's an energy here of the pentacles, the coins, safety, stability, you know, our work, and we're kind of like rooting into that. But I'm really feeling the financial and planning, the way that it's building a nest, where I think there's in the world, on the world stage, we're going to be seeing some of that sort of shake-up energy, which was to be expected and all a part of, you know, all of this energy that we're moving through right now, and part of the things that lead to crumblings and shiftings and change to new beginnings. So I do feel that we're going to be seeing some of that this week. I know for me personally, we have a couple of things due this week that we're still figuring out where the pentacles are coming from. But, you know, it's that season. A lot of times if we're changing over from, spring to summer plans, and if we're, you know, so blessed to have an opportunity for a holiday, vacation, you know, day camps or things for the, you know, kids, or different, you know, stepping into a new season sometimes requires new purchases in the way of wardrobe or different things that, you know, hits us in the pentacles. And so I know that, you know, when there is abundance of that coming in, right, that's just one way that that's showing up in my world. it can be a little tricky to find all of the coins for that, So I know already that matches for me, and this can be any number of ways. And so this is where I say, if any of these messages are hitting more than others, or something's resonating for you, or you want to feel into more how it might be coming up for you, and you would like a personal card pull to be more specific, let me know, and we will take a look for you this week. So here we have this Champions of Coins sort of ushering in that energy as we're building up to this new moon in Taurus. And I'm looking forward to diving into that with the new moon empowerment reading to see if, that's really something too that's coming in around all of the aspects with this new cycle that's kicking off. Let's take a look now at Wednesday's midweek blessing. All right, Wednesday brings our midweek blessing as the Five of Wands. Now, this is the one that I affectionately call the Stirring the Poo card. And as I look to the Transient Light Tarot, it has a similar take here because 5 is a number that can bring some chaos and a little bit of like unsettled energy, very frenetic energy. It's in that in between. And yet, it's a blessing. So we feel into how that might show up for us. The Transient Light take is that in everything you do, your motivations and purpose will come under scrutiny. Conflict and competition threatens to derail your pathway. So find a way to make peace with the discord. Learn from diverse voices rather than letting it be a source of dispute. It may be a powerful learning moment, or perhaps time to mind your own business. So, I have been living out these cards. I'm telling you, that is perfect for me from the events of last week and all that I went through, am going through there. And again, it's going to show up differently for all of us, but this ties in really beautifully with the beginnings. I say that as I looked at the other ones called beauty and beginnings. And so, those type of competitive, stepping on, stirring it up kind of energy, lower vibrational energy that can feel a bit, coming under scrutiny and feeling that discord actually serves because it stirs it up and creates energy that we then use our free will in terms of what are we going to do with that? If there is discord, if there is competitive energy that feels petty or, of a lower vibration, what can I learn from that? And in what way is that helping me to see very clearly what is for me and what's not, and therefore pivoting toward that beauty in the new beginning, and that can come with some significant or, very real frustration in the poo stirring, in the futility of it all, in the scrutinizing of it. It's not to say that it's always a pleasant process, and yet it's necessary. And so this is where we have an opportunity to look at certain things that come up that, seem to threaten to derail our happy day or, causing waves in some way that end up being some of the greatest teachers and the greatest lessons that we have available to us on our fool's journey. So, again, I'm very definitely resonating with this myself with my specifics. If there is something for you, it does help through the lens of these cards to put a fresh eye on it, to look at it in a way of say, okay, what do I need to know about this difficult person, place, thing, energy that I am moving through? In what way is this serving me? How is it showing up as a blessing? And that is the way that we can look at it with the cards to help us to glean some insight and awareness through that higher frequency. Right ear ringing as I say that. So again, that's where you might want some additional guidance, whether you're joining me for the new moon empowerment reading, which would be a fantastic way because we will do a deep dive in there if you're looking for a personal card pull this week. Let's take a look now at Thursday's energy for how we are growing. All right. Thursday brings in how we are growing, how we have grown. As I said in the card pulls, as we are winding down Taurus season and kicking off a new cycle with the new moon in Taurus, how have we grown? And what do we need to know about these two hands showing up with this 6 of coins? Okay. So Transient Light Tarot says, generosity sparks a cycle of prosperity, even when it's not reciprocated. Charity puts goodness into the world around you. And if you are able, be generous to those in need or to causes that you care about. You'll be remembered for it. Giving doesn't always need to be financial. Volunteering time or finding ways to give back while conducting your own business will help bring a balance of wealth. Find inspiration by appreciating the ways you benefit from collective wealth. Yes, so I feel this as, again, a branch of this champion of coins that comes in as a potential block that is helping us to grow into a new way of the way that the energy exchange takes place. The coins are just one form of energy, and it has been one of the primary sources for quite a while in the way of dollars and cents and, pentacles. And so that was just describing, as we move further and further into the age of Aquarius and the new energy that's being built, this is where we are seeing and having an opportunity to sort of ease our way into, or, getting familiar with new ways of wealth and sharing of resources, energy exchange, bartering, all creative ways that we have an opportunity to grow into, and again, this is something that happens over time that, is something that we will continue to be looking at, in the coming years and decades. But, I am feeling, like I said, some collective winks on the world stage this week that may be giving us a bit of a look at some of that, and I know that this card came up in some of the personal readings this month and some of the private sessions where we were kind of looking at this card to say, okay, both hands are coming to the table with 3 coins each. What's different about them? How are they placed? What are we getting from that symbolically to say, just as that indicated, it may not be reciprocated. It may not be equal, right? And give anyway, right? Give generously, but in a way that is, with intention, but also with awareness that we're not just over giving to the extent of depletion of our own ability to sustain and hold that. And like I said, I do feel that there's going to be more about this as we explore this new moon in Taurus. But I think that there is this, we are beginning to grow into that. We're starting to see a need for that. And also, in many spaces and places that are already well underway with some of those things, that becoming a little bit more front and center, open, and seeing that is what I'm kind of picking up there. But let's take a look at that moon card that's coming in to finish off the tarot messages for Friday. And then we'll finish up with that beauty Queen of the Moon. All right. Friday came in quite resonantly and just right on point. Right as I said, on the other side, we have that new moon in Taurus. And what did we get? The moon, of course. And this is our lone major arcana card this week. The big secrets, significant energy coming in because, yes, saying pay attention to this beautiful new moon and what it is providing for us in the way of a calmer, perhaps more grounded energy, all in the midst of that algal gateway where we're talking about the cycles of death and rebirth and shedding into new beginnings. So let's take a look here. And with this deck, there's beautiful little prose or poems ahead of each of the major arcana cards. So I'm going to read that first, and then we will take a look at the messages there. That teeming, glorious intuition of yours has been carrying you through. Take this magic lunaprosity and formulate a way to carry it in the daylight. There is a methodology for each moon phase, one to manifest, one to accept, one to release, one to ask for completion. Have you ever charged your talismans under the light of the full moon? If not, mark the date in your calendar and do so, that you may bring your glimmering internal landscape to the worldscape. Lunaprosity represents the prosperity given by the moon. This came up. I read that once before this month. And what I feel there is, we have a rare blue moon at the end of this month. So while this is a new moon, and so we don't have an illuminated full moon shining down, we will on May 31st. So, this is where we have a double dip this month. That's going to be a full moon in Sagittarius on May 31st. So again, I think that's giving us a little wink in a time frame that we're talking this 2-week stretch from new moon to full moon, blue moon. And the way that that was kind of outlining kind of to every time there is a season, right? Because it's saying there's a methodology for each moon phase. You know, there's a phase where it's about manifesting. There's one that's about acceptance, one for release, one to ask for completion. So, you know, it is about all the different phases and stages that we move through, which is exactly where we began with Aurora Beginnings, talking about, you know, the finite number of beginnings and new cycles that we get in our lives in all areas. So this moon is really, giving us a taste of that. And while, like I say, it's not actually going to be giving light as a new moon, it is shining a light on that. It is illuminating that understanding and the way that it talks about, you know, bringing your internal landscape into the worldscape. Everybody, we're getting it. You have something to bring, to shine, your gifts, you know, and this is all going to be, I feel, building up to that full moon in Sagittarius that will be that fire, that movement, that adventure, that curiosity. Now, the message here for the moon, speaking to intuition, the subconscious, and half light, as we see here, it says, the previous card, the star, has breathed life and inspiration into you. The only remaining aspect missing from your journey is the path itself. The moon reflects the sun and casts a partial light on the path ahead. You know where you're headed, but the vision is not in full color yet. At this time, it is important to connect with your subconscious and intuitively pick out each step as you journey through the forest and towards the sunrise. Yeah. So there is this going within and connecting with your own inner wisdom in terms of finding your unique path and then go there. And that's sort of the bridge that I feel from new moon to blue moon, right? Is discover it, explore it, be curious about it, and then do it, go, right? So there's definitely an opportunity there to have this intentional time with this new moon to set forward into what? You know, the world being your oyster. What is it? What is on your path? What do you wish to encounter? And go big. Think about it, you know? So I think that's, again, even further how you really could benefit from really connecting in with this new moon in whatever way speaks to you, whether it's the new moon empowerment reading, you have your own process. But like I say, we will have a ritual, we'll have a spread, and we will go deep diving into both these cards and the spread that we'll be doing and the astrological weather. Okay, one last card to cover for this week. We're going to take that sneak peek at that Queen of the Moon Oracle card. Okay, finally, we take a look at the Queen of the Moon Oracle card coming up for the new moon in Taurus on Saturday. We've got beauty. Beauty is like medicine. It can heal even the most broken spirit. Beauty is everywhere in nature. Just look. Beauty comes in many forms, and we can choose to find it. I love how I look. Rid yourself of clutter and what you find disagreeable. So that was a little positive thinking in terms of finding that beauty within, finding that beauty without, and releasing the excess and that which does not fit in with that frequency. The mantra here, I see beauty everywhere and it raises my vibration. Yeah, it's sort of like, and as I mentioned, you know, there's a couple cards this week that are giving, you know, world stage flavor, that as all of that is shaking up and things are happening and, you know, all the things we've been talking about over these weeks, you know, last week with Pluto stationing retrograde, with Uranus and Gemini the week before setting off this new 7-year cycle, shakeups, wake-ups, breakups, you know, action, things happening with communication and all the things that are, it's happening, right? It's going to, and Pluto retrograde, planet of death and rebirth. So as we come in here with a card 13 for the beginnings, asking us to look at the finite aspect of that, beauty comes in to say, hey, look over here. Because in the midst of all of that instability and shaky energy and the blessing of that 5 of Wands in the middle of the week, get out there, get grounded, touch grass, come back to yourself, go out in nature, make it your job to seek out beauty all around you, even in the midst of all those things. And the way that I see it here so beautifully in this card, it's almost like kind of like 5 things. I'm getting a feeling of like 5, make it, a little ritual or a little exercise that you do, that you take those 5 things and you look around, and it doesn't have to be anything super, like I say, whether you're seeing butterfly or a beautiful flower or something that just catches your eye, but even more deeply, shapes in the clouds or symbols or noticing numbers or patterns or words or things that are coming out to you that are really showing you a higher message, and it's one of beauty. It is one of lightness. It just feels like you are aligned and connected and coming back to yourself, even in the midst of a whole heck of a lot of other stuff, So that's what I'm getting for now with this card. Like I say, we'll get into it on the new moon empowerment reading. But for now, I wish you a beautiful week ahead. If you would like a personal card pull, let me know. I'll be in touch this week. If you would like to join us for the new moon empowerment reading, I will put that link here and below in the caption if you're watching on YouTube. I would love to connect with you and really together as we are exploring, what is opening up on the other side of this new cycle and season that is coming in. Okay, sending much love, many blessings, and we'll talk soon.